evening, everyone. We have a full house. How exciting. So I'm going to call the City Commission meeting April 7th, 2026 to order at 6 o'clock p.m. Sherry, can you take a roll call, please?
Madam Mayor?
Here.
Vice Mayor Fleiss?
Here.
Commissioner Hart?
Here.
Commissioner Thomas?
Here.
Commissioner Dembinski?
Here.
And I believe we have Reverend Melissa Grants from our Drive-In Christian Church. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Please stand and join me as we pray together. We pause in gratitude for this community and for all who serve Daytona Beach Shores with dedication. As this commission begins its work tonight, may clarity, patience, and a shared commitment to the well-being of every resident guide each decision. We give thanks for the creativity and service being recognized this evening, for the students who inspire us, for employees marking years of faithful work, and for those whose leadership strengthens our wider community. And even as we gather tonight, we do pray for our armed forces and their families and ask that you hold them close. For those deployed, for those preparing to deploy, and those carrying the weight of worry here at home, may they be protected, supported, and strengthened. And may this meeting be marked by integrity, respect, and a shared desire to help our community thrive. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Or Nancy, do we have someone, I'm sorry, we have someone here from Longstreet that will be.
Yes, Mayor, we do. Demond McGill.
Thank you so much. We'll begin whenever you're ready.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much for doing the honor of leading us today. We appreciate it. Great job. Okay, next we're going to go on to our presentations. And do we have some certificates to pass out today? Okay, and as we've been doing for the past, I think, over a year, thank you very much for bringing your wonderful students here. We pass out some art student presentations, so if we want to all go down, and we'll pass these out. Join me down there.
It's okay.
Okay, the first one is Aria McGrath. Next is Kayla Kozlowski.
There you go. You're welcome.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you. Lots of thank yous. Congrats.
Maxwell Morris.
Congratulations.
Damani McGill.
Again, for reading your pledge, I appreciate it, and thank you on your award.
Congratulations. Thank you. Congrats.
Norma Chubara.
Congratulations.
Camden Fuller.
Camden, congratulations on your award.
Congratulations.
Corey Harris.
Congratulations.
And last but certainly not least, Malin Blair.
For sure. Thank you for
I'll move this way, come over here with me. Follow me,
This is the last exhibit for the school year. You take one picture of me so much for everything that
With the flowers.
follow.
Down here.
All the way down.
Maddie, do you want us further, or are we okay?
You guys are okay, Commission? Can I have you split the podium in, please? All right, everybody, look right here. Smile. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Hold for your moms and dads. All right.
Yeah, I wanted one. Thank you, guys. Congratulations.
Down by Meg. Down.
You're not interested in having the squirt will do that.
Okay, next, can I please have Maddie McAllister come forward? So Maddie is our PIO, which is our Public Information Officer. Maddie's only been with us a little over 90 days, is that correct, or how long?
I've hit 4 months.
4 months, okay, she's been with us 4 months, and she has done such a phenomenal job. We are just so happy to have her. But I'm going to read a proclamation. So there's something called 40 Under 40, and although we didn't nominate her, someone else did, but we're just sharing in the praise for her. So whereas this year the 40 Under 40 event celebrates its 20th anniversary, and whereas the event has recognized 800 young professionals over the past 2 decades, and whereas these young professionals are elected for their leadership and outstanding achievements both in their professions and within their communities. And whereas Maddie McAllister joined the city in October of 2025 and currently serves as the Community Information Coordinator for the City of Daytona Beach Shores, bringing extensive experience in municipal communications and public information. Whereas Ms. McAllister has demonstrated exceptional leadership in advancing public engagement, expanding communication initiatives, strengthening our community trust through innovative outreach, including enhanced digital communication, increased our citizen participation, and the development of a Citizens Academy that we just graduated last week. Whereas her prior service with the City of Orange City and the Daytona Beach Police Department reflects a strong commitment to public service, including her leadership during emergency responses such as Hurricane Milton in 2024, as well as managing high-profile communications and community initiatives. And whereas Ms. McAllister's dedication to fostering civic engagement, transparency, and community connection continues to positively impact our residents and contribute to the quality of life throughout all of Volusia and Flagler region. Now, therefore, we deem it an honor and a pleasure to congratulate Maddie McAllister as one of the 40 honorees selected in 2026, and we recognize her as an outstanding young professional and leader in our community. I, Mayor Nancy Miller, do hereby declare today, April 7th, 2026, as Maddie McAllister Day in the city of Daytona Beach Shores.
All right. That's a big deal. It was under 40.
So,
Amazing.
do you want us to?
Picture with you. All of us? All coming down. Here we go.
Maddie, we are so glad to have you. Congratulations.
Thank you so
We're so
much.
proud of you.
You know what to do. I know.
Yeah.
All right, let's split the middle.
Okay.
All right, Chris, if you can take the
Sure. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay.
For a photo op?
Usually I do it up.
Thank you.
That's okay. Suitable for framing.
Okay, next we have Employee Service Awards. Our Public Safety Officer, Jack Ramson, was not able to be with us this evening, but we do have our Sergeant Enrique Rosario with 5 years of service.
Good evening, Mayor Miller, Vice Mayor Politis, City Council members, City Manager Fowler, Mark Swanson, Public Safety Director. This is the part of our job that is most fulfilling that we get to do, is to honor our employees. So with us tonight is Sergeant Enrique Rosario. He is being given an award for 5 years of dedicated service with the City of Daytona Beach Shores. So Sergeant Rosario is being recognized for 5 years of distinguished service. He joined Daytona Beach Shores Public Safety in March of 2021. He's been a field training officer, a taser instructor, a Glock armorer. He was promoted to sergeant in August of 2024, and he's certified as an EMT, firefighter, and police officer. Congratulations. Bring your family up here.
Maddie, do you want us to just stand?
If you would.
Baby.
That's okay.
All right, everybody. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, I have another proclamation to read, so you're going to have to hear a couple more whereas. So this is Water Conservation Month, and they asked us to do a proclamation. So whereas water is a basic and essential need of every living creature, and whereas the state of Florida, the city of Daytona Beach Shores, and the St. John's Water Management District are working together to increase awareness and the importance of water conservation. And whereas the state of Florida has designated April typically a dry, outside raining month when water demands are most acute, as Florida's Water Conservation Month, it is to educate our citizens about how they can save Florida's precious water resources. And whereas the city of Daytona Beach Shores has always encouraged and supported water conservation through various educational programs and special events, and whereas every business, industry, school, and citizen can make a difference when it comes to conserving water, and whereas every business, industry, school, and citizen can help by saving water and thus promoting a healthy economy and community. And whereas therefore be it resolved that by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Daytona Beach Shores, we do hereby proclaim the month of April as Water Conservation Month. Thank you. next, and I hope this is a good one, we have our annual audit report, James Moore and Company.
Good evening, everyone. James Halloran, a partner at James Moore & Company, here to present your audit for the year ended September 30th, 2025. So a little bit about your audited financial statements. You'll see there is a lot of reports from James Moore & Company, about 5 different reports included in the annual comprehensive financial report. We'll get to that in a little bit, what that means. But of course, the first one, everyone wants to know, what is the opinion on the financial statement, from the auditor? It's an unmodified opinion. This does not sound glorious or spectacular, but that's actually the best opinion we can provide as independent certified public accountants. The next report there, report on internal control over financial reporting and compliance. This is required by government auditing standards. So in addition to U.S. auditing standards, you're also subject to government auditing standards. The state of Florida requires that. It's not required in every state. We're happy to report no material weaknesses in internal control of financial reporting. We did have one significant deficiency we identified, which was with the sewer fund. The equity that was in the sewer fund that came forward from the previous year was off by $75,000, so it required an audit adjustment for that. We had no instances of material noncompliance that were required to be reported. The Auditor General of the state of Florida also has us look at other items for the city. Like we would look to see if you're in a state of financial emergency, which would be very severe. That'd be like you would not be paying your vendors, your payroll, your debt service, those type of things. Of course, you didn't meet any of those. We also have to perform a financial condition assessment and compare the city of the Daytona Beach Shores over a 5-year period, about 30 different financial ratios, and also compare you to similar sized cities, being based off property value, taxable property value, and population. So we had no issues with that analysis. In addition, we're also required by statute to look at Florida investment statutes and compare that to the city's policies and whether you're in compliance with those. We had no issues of non-compliance report there. So a little bit on the numbers. Your general fund, that's your main operating fund for the city. And what we're looking at here are the ending balances. So basically your equity, your assets less your liabilities in those funds. And you'll see there are a total of $23 million this year, similar to the prior 2 years. And you see it's broken up into 5 different buckets. Non-spendable is prepaids and inventory. You've already purchased it. You already paid cash for it. So that's not available for expenditure going forward. Restricted is made up of road improvement. So you receive state revenues that are restricted for those purposes. So about $1.3 million right now for road improvements. And then the assigned fund balance, that's your subsequent year budget. So each year when you prepare your budget, there's items that are not completed from the previous year. Those are rolled over. So about $3.4 million, almost 3.5, is what's being assigned to the subsequent year. So that leaves you with unassigned. That's basically you're at your discretion how you spend that. You do have some policies in place to make sure where you guys are at. We'll go through that in a little bit, but about $18.8 million. So if you look at that fund balance and you compare that, you have that fund balance of close to $18.8 million. Your last year expenditures were $20.5 million. So, and transfers out. So if you look at that, you say, well, what is that as a percentage? If you're thinking about your rainy day fund, and whether you're at 3 months, 6 months, 1 month, whatever you might be personally, then from a business perspective, so you're interested at right about 92%, for the year. For reference, the Government Finance Office Association recommends going no lower than 2 months, and that's at a bare minimum, right? Unfortunately, I try not to use the 4-letter word, which is starts with an F, ends in an A, and it's a federal agency. We don't want to have to get money from them because that means we probably had severe hurricane damage. But in those situations, most of my coastal cities will be around anywhere from 50 to 75% up to 100, 125%. Because if you do have an emergency like that, which you guys have had in the past, is you're going to have a massive drain on your cash flow, and then you wait for FEMA to reimburse you. We wish FEMA was faster, but we cannot speed up that process. But that's the risk. So most of my coastal cities will keep a little bit more. Also, the larger the government, you'll find that reserves are less. So the monies they're holding back because they have the ability. They're larger. They may be borrowing from other funds internally. Where a smaller city like the city of Daytona Beach Shores, say compared to Volusia County as a whole, their percentage is much lower. And you do have your own fund balance policy. You created, was it 2 years ago, Lori? So 2 years ago is when that was created, and what it does, you say, okay, you set up a minimum that you'd want to have, which is 50% of your ad valorem, the budget ad valorem. Because we all know with this legislature right now that you might want to relook at that when if a law passes, who knows if it will. If I was as good at betting at that, I'd be betting on investments, you know. But, so that could change potentially that policy once if anything does pass at the state level. But you are in compliance with that policy. Just as a reminder, because you always want to figure out what do property taxes really fund for your city. If you look at all your governmental revenues you have coming in, it's about 53%. So it's a large portion of your revenue stream, very, very significant. This year, new, you have your capital project fund. So you created a capital project fund this past year to kind of segregate, those activities related to large, projects you have going on. It was started by a $5.6 million transfer from the general fund. You spent a good bit there for this year. You spent, the leftover balance was $2.4 million. The big thing you guys did, fire truck is always expensive. Wish they were cheaper, wish they could get built faster, but that doesn't seem to be happening. And then you also did some projects with dune walkovers. So you have those two things that kind of made up your expenditures coming out of that new capital project fund. You also do have your contraband and forfeiture fund. That's related, of course, Commissioner Dubinsky would know about that. Those are restricted by statute for law enforcement activities. Those specifically for capital purchases. There was some equipment purchases this past year, which is why it decreased. Cash and investments. You guys are invested in U.S. Treasury notes. So for this year, you have close to $38 million invested. About $28 million of that is just U.S. Treasuries. The overall investment earnings for the year, right about $1.4 million. Of course, that can fluctuate over time. That's not just the interest. That's adjusted to fair value. So depending on what the markets do and interest rates do, that can actually affect the value of those Treasury investments. Long-term liabilities, you have no general long-term debt, but you do have some leases that are out there that are required to be recorded. So we have some lease items, subscription-based IT arrangements, or basically softwares that you own that you're paying over a period of time, about $119,000. Compensated absences, accrued vacation, sick time, PTO, that's in there. There was an accounting change this year that required an adjustment in that calculation. And what it did, it made you not only look at what would be paid when someone left the city, so if someone retired or left to go work somewhere else, I don't know why anyone would want to go work somewhere else, but if they did, what you pay them out, that was the previous way. You only base it off the cash. What they did is they redid that standard and said, not only do you have to think about if someone leaves, you have to think about if they're staying with you, and they may use that time in the future and not get paid for it, but they're going to use it as part when they're still actively working for you. So a little bit about your one business type activity, which is your sewer fund that you have. And you'll see this is the equity at the end of the year as well. So it's broken up in that position into those 3 buckets. It's what's invested back in the capital assets and the actual infrastructure that's in the ground for the most part. So about $4.4 million of that infrastructure. The restricted amount, that's impact fees. So as you collect impact fees on new projects, that's restricted. It can only be used for expansion of service. It's about $85,000 there. And the remaining balance is unrestricted, about $12.5 million. See, it's relatively consistent over the past couple of years. Lastly, I'll end on pension funds. So you guys are a member of the state retirement system, the Florida Retirement System, FRS. And that has 2 parts to it. There's a defined benefit part that pays a defined amount based on your years of service and calculated on a percentage of your compensation. HIS stands for health insurance subsidy. So when an individual retires, there's a stipend they get on a monthly basis from the state. So those are the 2 plans. You guys are a member, just like many cities and counties are. So state of Florida and their actuarial calculations, they calculate what you basically pay into that system. So currently, your general employee type person would be paying about 14%. Public safety is always higher, about 35%. Pretty much in line with last year. Public safety went up a little bit more, about 3%. And general employees just about the same as last year. I add that percent funding at the bottom just so you can kind of see those drastic differences. The regular retirement system is 87% funded, as opposed to health insurance subsidy, which is only at 6%. It's a non-funded plan, so basically it's pay as you go. So as people are retiring, they may increase that contribution to cover the retirees. 87 is a very healthy for a state plan. You'll see a lot of state plans that are a lot less than that. And that's Florida has a statute that requires not only the state government, but also if you had a local government plan, you must pay in what's actually determined. And the Division of Retirement at the state of Florida reviews all those calculations. So it's a good opportunity, that FRS system. As I mentioned before, you do produce what's called an annual comprehensive financial report. Lori and her department does prepare that. And the difference between that, you guys go above and beyond what's required by Florida statutes. So it also not only includes financial statements and notes, it also includes statistical information in the back. So you'll see a lot of information in the back of that on 10-year trends, some financial trends, some operating trends as well. Also includes a transmittal letter. So if someone's looking at the city of Daytona Beach Shores and they're from Denver, Colorado, they know nothing about Daytona Beach Shores, that gives you an opportunity to explain a little bit about your community. This is the 4th consecutive year you received that award back for 1 year ago, and we anticipate you're receiving that again. So congratulations.
Congratulations, Lori.
That's all I have, but I'll take any questions or comments.
So in all, we're in pretty good shape.
Yes.
Any specific questions?
I do.
Yeah.
Have you received questions or inquiries from other municipalities or other clients that you have about what we could try and do now, or the finance department, in anticipation of a vote eliminating some of those ad valorem taxes, even though it's still up in the air? Is there anything we can do now, or examine, or look, or start to prepare?
Well, it's like anything, you want to diversify your revenues. So if property taxes do have to decrease, then you have to start looking at some other avenues of can you do other charges for services? Can you do assessments? Some cities are looking at fire assessments as one way to do that. That's just one example that's out there. So
Sort of like a city tax in lieu of the deficit.
well, a fire assessment would be a special assessment.
Okay,
It
special.
goes in a property tax bill.
Okay.
And it can only be used for fire safety and basic life support. You cannot use it to pay for advanced life supports.
Really? Okay. Thank
So
you.
there
It's
are
probably a
some
more
cities
proper
that have
question
that.
for our director. Okay.
I know she goes through the Florida Government Finance Association. They'll have a conference this summer, and they're constantly sending out stuff on it now. But that's one of the options that is out there. There are a couple cities here in Volusia County that already have that. City of Edgewater actually presented their statements last night, has that. City of Lake Helen has that as well. But that's been I've heard the most about, that people are initially thinking about as another revenue stream to bring in.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
You have a good night.
Appreciate it. Thanks for coming here this evening. So next, we're going to go on to the approval of the minutes from March 3rd, 2026. Do I hear a motion to approve those minutes?
Go ahead.
Also moved.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion or anything we need to change or update on those minutes? If not, Sherry, can you take a roll, please? And those passed 5-0, thank you. Next, we're going to go on to the consent agenda. There are 5 items on the consent agenda. One moment. Heather, I'm not allowed to pull one, right? It has to be for discussion. I think I have to turn the gavel over to do that.
At this point, I think you would discuss whether to pull it as a,
But normally I'd make a motion, or someone would make a motion to pull it for discussion. I don't believe. Sherry, do you know the answer that I can pull for discussion?
I think you can just request the item to be pulled. from
Okay, all right. Then I'm requesting item D pulled for discussion. So with that being pulled, do I have an approval of the other 4 items?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. A second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Okay, so the reason I'm pulling item D, it's the City of Daytona Beach FP&L lighting agreement for the installation of lights in Esperanza Avenue. And Norma, can you come up? So this is Norma Shabaro. Norma, can you tell us what grade you're in, and can you pull this down? Tell us a little bit about why you did this.
I'm in 5th grade, and one day I was walking on that street with my mom, and I realized that like I can barely see there. So, and my mom always said, well, try to walk in the grass area because cars can't see you on the street. So I'm like, well then there needs to be a light here because there's one at the beginning and near the end, but none in the middle. So.
All right. And so how did you contact us? Did you write us a letter, or what did you do to notify us?
I came to one of these meetings like a few months ago, and I talked up here.
Okay, great. I do remember that, and I just want you to tell that this is where you come forward and let us know what's going on in our city or anything happening. And I think you probably got with our Community Service Director, Stuart Cruz, because he's responsible for things like that. And because of your interest in our city, this was taken care of. So I just wanted to make sure that I gave you the credit for this. Thank you so much. So since I pulled that, I should have got a consent. I'm going to redo the consent agenda. Could all 5 items, can someone do a motion for all 5 consent items to be approved?
Also move.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Okay. Was that all right to do it like that? Yes. Okay, thank you. We have a vote, please, Sherry? And the consent agenda passed 5-0. Thank you again, Norma. We appreciate you. Next, we're going to go on to old business. Okay, and this is ordinance 2026-01. Ms. Simons, can you read that for us, please?
Yes, Mayor. An ordinance of the City of Daytona Beach Shores, Florida, related to wine bistros, amending the municipal code ordinances Appendix G, Land Development Code by amending Section 2-2 entitled General Definitions by creating a definition for wine bistro, amending Section 14-23 entitled GC2 Reasonable Service Commercial District, amending Section 14-23.2 entitled Permitted Principal Uses to add wine bistro as a permitted principal use, amending Section 14-31.1 entitled GCRD General Commercial Redevelopment District, amending Section 1431.1.2 entitled Permitted Principal Uses to add wine bistro as a permitted principal use, providing for legislative findings and intent, providing for enforcement of penalties, providing for a savings provision, providing for complication, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Ms. Hurstein?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Commissioners. Gwen Hurstein, City Planner. Ordinance 2026-01 defines a wine bistro and adds it to the General Commercial Redevelopment District and the Retail Service Commercial District as a permitted principal use. All consistency and staff reviews had favorable results. In staff analysis, or staff recommendation is for approval at this adoption hearing. I would like to point out that the requester for parts of this change, Dawn Rogers, the owner of Coast Wine Company, is in the audience tonight. She's in the 4th row. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Do I hear a motion to accept ordinance 2026-01?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience, I don't have any forms, anyone in the audience that would like to speak on ordinance 2026-01? Seeing none and not seeing any speakers, Sherry, can you take the roll, please? That ordinance 2026-01 passed 5-0. Thank you very much. Continued best of luck in the Shores. We're glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Okay, next we'll go on to ordinance 2026-02. Ms. Simons, can you read that for us, please?
It's ordinance 2026-02, an ordinance of the City of Daytona Beach Shores, Florida relating to outdoor dining conditional uses, amending the municipal code of ordinances, Appendix G, land development code by amending section 14-8, entitled Special Exceptions and Conditional Uses to streamline and clarify the application and approval process requirements for conditional uses generally, and by amending section 14-58.2.1.a, entitled Outdoor Dining to streamline the application, approval, and renewal process for certain outdoor dining conditional uses, providing for legislative findings and intent, providing for enforcement and penalties, providing for a savings provision, providing for publication, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Commissioners, Gwen Herstein, City Planner. Ordinance number 2026-02 will support applicants for conditional use permits by simplifying the application process for all 4 conditional uses and further simplifying the outdoor dining renewal process, including eliminating the $110 annual renewal fee. Certain outdoor dining regulations were eased when possible, and where possible without compromising life safety and peaceful enjoyment of the neighborhood. All consistency and staff reviews have favorable results, and staff recommends approval at this adoption hearing, and I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone may have.
Do I hear a motion for ordinance 2026-02 for approval?
I'll so move. Certainly.
I'll second.
This is a second reading. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak on ordinance 2026-02? Seeing none, is there any discussion? We have no speakers, so Sherry, can you take a roll on this, please? Again, that was a 5-0, thank you. Next, we're going to go to ordinance 2026-03. Ms. Simons, can you read that for us, please?
Ordinance 2026-03, an ordinance of the City of Daytona Beach Shores, Florida relating to general penalties for certain illegal activity, providing for an amendment to section 1-8 of the City of Daytona Beach Shores Code of Ordinances with regard to the provision of penalties for violations of city code, providing for conflicts, providing for publication, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion to accept 2026-03?
I so move.
Second?
I'll second.
Thank you. This is a second reading. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak on ordinance 2026-03? Not, and I don't see any discussion items. Sherry, can you take a vote on this, please?
Madam Mayor, can I ask a quick question?
Certainly.
I know it's a little out of order. Whether it's Director Swanson or Manager Fowler, if the state attorney's office imposes a fine on one of these ordinances, does the city enjoy a portion of that fine money to come to the city, or does that all go to the state?
No, we share in that.
Okay. Okay, good. That's what I
Did
thought.
that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay. And that passed 5-0. Okay, next, we're going to go on to new business. So this is Resolution 2026-03. Attorney Simons, can you read that for us, please?
Resolution number 2026-03, a resolution of the City of Daytona Beach Shores, Volusia County, Florida, a resolution supporting the Volusia County Beach Management Feasibility Study, encouraging the Volusia County Council to adopt a comprehensive beach management plan, providing for implementing administrative actions, providing for an effective date.
Thank you. And this is a toss-up between one of our favorite speakers in the whole county, between you and Sheriff Chitwood. Yes. Yes.
Wow.
So please introduce yourself and what do you have for us this evening?
Good evening, Jessica Fentress, Volusia County's Coastal Director. Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, and City Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to come before you today. There is a lot in this resolution. I would quickly go over a presentation for you just so that you kind of understand the why and then the impact that our beaches has on the county. I think that's very specific to Daytona Beach Shores. I want you to see the numbers so that you can take them in your casual conversations with your friends and your connections outside the peninsula. So following the 2022 hurricanes, we received about an $82 million zero-match grant from the Florida Department of Environmental Protection. That helped us with emergency sand placement, installing the trap bags, doing the sand placement on the North Beach project with the Army Corps of Engineers. We got out and we got all the easements, and we partnered with the town of Ponce Inlet, which was a very successful project. We're currently under construction in New Smyrna Beach on the South Beach project. It's going very well. We expect to be ending this up about turtle season, May 8th. I may have a week delay because of this week's weather, but it's going great. We're also going to talk very quickly about the Inlet Shoals to Shore project. This is your next sand project that you will see north of the inlet next year. And then finally, a long-term offshore sand source investigation. We're going through a feasibility study so that we can become grant partners with the state on future projects. Once the $82 million is spent, we want to have a partner with the state so that we're not paying the 100% cost on these projects. They're very expensive projects. In order to be eligible, you have to have a beach management plan. And then I need to hit this home on why we love this beach. We know it's important. It is our bloodline, especially in Daytona Beach Shores. But I need to show why it's important to the entire county, and hopefully I can hit that nail straight on the head today. This is your Inlet Shoals to Shore project. We have approximately 1.75 million cubic yards of additional beautiful sand. We have a hole in the North Inlet. Everybody knows about it on the North Jetty. The jetty is an Army Corps project, and the federal government has a funding problem at the moment. What that hole does is it allows a lot of sand to go into the inlet and create shoals. The areas you see in red are the areas we've identified for beach quality sand. This sand came from the North Beaches through the hole in the jetty from the 22 storms. You may have heard me say we lost 6.6 million cubic yards of sand. Here's 1.75 of it right there. If there is emergent vegetation on it, if it is not clean beach quality sand, and if it is identified as shorebird nesting habitat, we are not going to touch it. So this is primarily being guided by FDP and the Army Corps of Engineers regulatory environmental side. But we hope to move on this sand, start excavating and pumping it onto our beaches in 2027, fully FDEP grant funded. We're also going offshore, looking for additional sand sources. One of the biggest feedback I heard from the Daytona Beach Shores residents was, why aren't you just pumping the sand out in the ocean back on the beach? We didn't have it identified, we didn't have it permitted. This is a long game. It's a federal permit. You see a little pink dash line that runs shore parallel. That's the 3-mile marker. So everything shoreward of that line is in state waters. Everything seaward of that line is in fed waters. If I'm in fed waters, I gotta start getting the Bureau of Energy Management out there. It gets really complicated. This is our long-term 50-year sand location so that we're not buying it from Claremont and trucking it in. Again, fully funded by the DEP grant. And then part of the coastal study, I'm gonna go over this very quickly. It's highly technical. If you want to nerd out on this, here's the website. There's a 30-minute presentation, and then there's a long format 3-hour lecture series that Mayor Miller was very happy to do that. All the information I'm gonna talk about is in there. We fully explain all this to the minutia of the detail. I'm gonna breeze over it very quickly. So we basically have 37 miles of county-maintained shoreline, excluding the North Peninsula State Park and Canaveral National Seashore. So who out of the 37 miles is the most critical? Everybody who has a property on the ocean is going to say, well, my property is the most critical. You need to focus on mine first. I live in New Smyrna. It may or may not be the most critical shoreline. So we did a data analysis, and we weighted this against a bunch of risk assessment vulnerability parameters. That's the complicated name. And basically, you'll see on your top rows the different criteria that we weighted it against. Your bottom row is a weight. So we did a high, medium, low on your risk assessment, broken out by our physical characteristics of our shoreline. You'll see Daytona Beach Shores is coupled in with Daytona Beach. And the reason we did that is you are very similar physically to Daytona Beach. You have a high seawall propensity, and you also have the same sand here that you have in Daytona that you do not see in Ormond and you do not see in Bethune Beach. You also have high-density residential and commercial as well, where Wilbur by the Sea, we all know, is single-family residential. So you're broken out for that reason. We rank it out, we do a weighted measure across high, medium, and low, and then I don't know whether to congratulate you or say I'm sorry, but you are ranked #1 as one of the highest risk communities across our entire coastline. You are tied with Wilbur by the Sea. I think everybody understands why. They also got hit just as bad as you did. Although they didn't have the residential unit impacts, they still had the structural and the linear feet of shoreline impacts.
Jessica, I stop you there. I see why we're grouped in with Daytona, but from just driving up and down the beach, I didn't see the seawall impact of the crumbling in Daytona as bad as we had in the shores. Is that correct?
That's not necessarily correct. You have, there are structures in Daytona today that if we had a nor'easter, they would be hard evacuated by law enforcement. There's a lot of, Daytona Beach Shores is extremely proactive in their building department, and you know, crises bring you together, but we have a great relationship between the county and the city and the Shores. And the Shores is very proactive in trying to engage their property owners to repair their property. There's a good chunk of Daytona, but that cannot say that. You've recovered significantly better than most of our coastline. So now we know where our worst is. We had our #1s ranked. We have, you know, Port New Smyrna Beach North is doing great. She's not getting nothing. What do we do to solve our problems? How do we fix this? What's our long-term plan? I have a 4-year-old and I have a 5-year-old. What is my beach going to look like for my grandchildren? What is that vision and how can we start getting there? Again, go to the website, volusia.org/coastal study if you want to learn about all these individually. There's 10 solutions in the state of Florida that you can do. No action, which is the government alternative. Structural relocation, which is not necessarily an option for Daytona Beach Shores because you have condos and you have thriving infrastructure. You can't buy these condos out. You can't relocate these single family homes. Floodproofing and structural elevation is basically lifting houses. Seawalls, we know what they are. Revetments, you have those as well, just south of Frank Rendon Park in that single family home section. Beach nourishment is the expanding of your dry recreational beach and elevating that dry recreational beach. Groins are shore perpendicular rock structures similar to mini jetties. Near shore sand placement is similar to beach nourishment, but it's done in about 8 feet of water. Minimal impact on the upland property owners, minimal impact on the recreation of the beach. What it does is it basically builds sandbars that the ocean will naturally bring ashore during our normal summer migration and give you baby dunes. Breakwaters are shore parallel rock structures, and then artificial reefs are very similar to breakwaters. They're a little more porous. They're not granite rock. They are usually some sort of 3D printed concrete thing. And they are also shore parallel breakwater style structures. Again, because I'm an engineer and I like to nerd out, I have another really good chart analysis that ranks your alternatives against your end goal. You can see the top row, we have reduced coastal storm damages to structures, critical infrastructure, and cultural resources. Next row is your weighting. That weighted the highest because why are we doing this? We're doing this to protect our investment in our property and our investment in our economy. Followed by reduced risk of natural resource loss, reduce risk to life safety, avoid impact to recreation, minimize impacts to threatened and endangered species and their habitats, and then finally, I gotta be able to permit the thing. Ranking it out, you have your top contenders are beach nourishment, structural relocation, and nearshore sand placement. We talked about structural relocation not necessarily being an option for Daytona Beach Shores, but what I do want to put out there is the state of Florida will only partner on grant funding if it is a sand option. The state of Florida will not do a 50% cost match with us for building a groin or building an artificial reef. They will only cost participate for sand. That's nourishment or the nearshore placement. So I promised Mr. Fowler he would get a couple of new tidbits. Mayor Miller has graciously invited us to come to the elected roundtable officials meeting in May to present this a little more in depth. I encourage you to come if your calendar allows you to. Let's talk about why this is important outside of Daytona Beach Shores. Why do people come to Volusia County? It's the beaches. You know, it is. We win. Regardless of why people come to Volusia County, whether they're going to a Stetson Hatters baseball game or they're coming for the excellent restaurants that we have on the beach, they come to the beach. 95 to 98% of all tourists in Volusia County come to the beach. This is a really interesting stat. There are twice as many day trips to Volusia County's beaches than to all 175 state parks combined. Our 37 miles of public access results in 61 million day trips a year. You've heard me talk before, my husband is an avid surfer in New Smyrna at the jetties. He probably contributes about 500 of those day trips a year. But the other thing that hits home, and this is what I want you to keep in your back pocket as you talk to your friends, you know, on the mainland, is Volusia County residents come to our beaches 19 times more than they go to Volusia Parks and Trails. The beach is our county's recreation highlight. It is not just the shore's recreation highlight, it is the county's. If you take anything away with you, bottom right-hand corner, the largest economic driver that creates jobs in our county is beach-related tourism. 31,400 jobs in the county are due to our beach tourism industry. Top right-hand corner. Beach tourism alone in our county contributes $4.3 billion a year to the county's GDP. That equates out to $28,000 of sales tax revenue for every homesteaded property in the county. So if someone who may not live beachside or may live west of 95 says, well, I don't care about the beach, I don't, you know, it doesn't matter to me. Well, it's bringing in about $28,000 of sales tax for your property in each one of your neighbor's properties as well. So what I want to leave here today with you as elected officials, as you reach out to your community and your friends and neighbors, is our beach drives our county. It drives our jobs and it drives our revenue. It is important and it should be invested in. With that, I am currently going out. I'm speaking to the municipal commissions, just like you guys. I am collecting letters of support. The county council is very big on doing your homework. I can guarantee you they're going to ask me, did I go out and did I engage our residents? Did I engage our cities? Did you get their feedback? Do they know about this? And I want to be able to say yes. So thank you, Mayor and Manager Fowler, for inviting me here today. We hope to take this to our county council for consideration late summer. And with that, I had a closing slide, but there you go. My contact information is here. Should anybody have any questions in the public, they watch this online, but I am available for questions.
Jessica, as normal, wonderful, wonderful overview. Just so knowledgeable all this, and we appreciate the excellent partnership that we have with you and we have for years. So now I'm going to ask you if we can give the support for Resolution 2026-03. Do I hear a motion to approve that resolution?
I so move.
You second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Does anyone in the audience have anything they would like to say on Resolution 2026-03? We certainly
Mayor,
have.
I'd like to say something.
And then we have one speaker. One question?
I do. Ms. Ventris, I just want to tell you, I live on the beach, as most of us do, or many of us do. That is the one thing that my residents are in my condo are all constantly asking me, are you going to do, not you, but us, going to do anything about the sand north of Pond Center? So it's wonderful to hear you talk tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Madam Mayor, can I ask? Hi.
Yes, sir.
I have an interesting question, and I get a lot of people that ask me different things, and sometimes I just don't know the answer. Is it accurate that when you go north on Flagler on A1A, the Army Corps of Engineers has jurisdiction of that part of the beach, and anything that happens, they pay to fix it over and over? And is the county going to be inclined to maybe do the same thing with the property we have, so that way they can fix it and pay for it in the future. And I'm sure there's lots of pros and cons, but is there any truth to that rumor?
Yes, sir. The Army Corps doesn't have jurisdiction. What they have is they have a federally funded project. Volusia County has been trying to get a feasibility study performed. In order to have a federal SAM project, first you have to have a feasibility study to provide the government with the ROI that it's worth the investment. That's a 3-year project. Representative Waltz, at the time, I believe it's Ambassador Waltz currently, he had our feasibility study fully funded last year. And then when the new administration came through, our feasibility study was unfunded. So we're working with our representatives in Washington to get our feasibility included in either the Army Corps' work plan or the President's budget. Now, that is a really good point. The reason, while it's a longer process to get there to have a federal SAM project, the buy-down locally is significantly lower. When the federal government participates, they tend to participate in the realm of 75%, where the state tends to participate on a state partnership, it's about 50%. So when you're talking about a $50 million project, that's a significant partnership that you want to engage on. What we're doing with this feasibility study is we are slow rolling this. It has been a slow and long burn, but we've followed the standards set in place by the Army Corps of Engineers so that when we get our federal feasibility project funded, we've already done the majority of the groundwork. Our cost participation, which would be about $1.5 million, is pretty much spent with just our background work that we've done. So if you know anybody in Washington, specifically in the Pentagon, give them my number. I'm happy to talk to them.
Thank you. Thanks for that information.
Jessica, can you talk about, it seems like, I bet it was almost 1.5 years to 2 years ago that we did have a representative, I believe from Jacksonville, from the Army Corps of Engineers that came down. We rode along on the beach with him. We stopped at the jetty, and he agreed that we do need this. As you're trying to explain, that's great that somebody says, yes, you need this. It's the funding. And you're exactly right. At that time, I think we were working with Congressman Waltz and Corey Mills and got their buy-in, and unfortunately, things changed hands. So we know that we have the support. We just need the funds.
We need to clear Washington. And there's only 5 projects nationwide a year that are awarded. So the competition is insane. And we were going against the wall in Mexico. We're going after hospitals. We're going after forest fires. We were competing against other projects that are civil works, but not necessarily just beaches.
Did that answer your question?
Sure did. Thank you.
Did we vote?
Not yet.
Was there any other discussion or any other questions? If not, then Sherry, can you take the vote? Okay, and that passed 5-0. Thank you so much for coming in today. You do have our support. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next, we're going to go on to item B. This is the approval to apply for the ULI, the Urban Land Institute Technical Assistance Panel, APP, program and budget appropriations. Director Maddox, what do you have for us?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor.
Would you like me to read out the new
I want to say yes, that would be great. I didn't. Okay.
Resolution 2026-04, a resolution of the City of Daytona Beach Shores, Volusia County, Florida, amending the general fund fiscal year 2025-2026 budget for technical assistance panels, TAPS, economic development study for $25,000, providing for appropriations, providing an effective date.
Thank you. Sorry, I didn't see that resolution on here.
We'll try this again. Good evening, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Commission. Nancy Maddox, Community Engagement Director. Staff is seeking City Commission's approval to apply for the Urban Land Institute Central Florida TAPS program, which is a technical assistance program that is made up of a panel of experts in architecture, real estate, economic development, engineering, developers, planners, and others from across the state. Participation in this program would provide an independent expert guidance in planning, urban design, economic development, and implementation of strategies. The expert panel will help the city address key questions related to defining a downtown gateway area, stimulating redevelopment and investment, and identifying policy and regulatory changes needed to support long-term revitalization. With your approval, there will be two public meetings to hear from our residents. The first one will be 5 p.m. on June 3rd at the Evening Exchange with the mayor, and the second one will be scheduled for June 10th at 10 a.m. The TAPS panel will be here and interview stakeholders, for example, city commission, business owners, realtors, developers, on July 16th and 17th for a day and a half. And once that process is complete, they'll compile what the results were from our citizens and from all of our stakeholders, and then they will present to you the afternoon of the 17th. And then now I'll turn it over to Director Irwin for the finance part of it. The Lori and Nancy.
And Nancy, this doesn't have anything, this is totally separate from the Parks and Rec thing.
Yes,
Okay.
correct. They're going to utilize that Parks and Recreation tool.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Director Irwin?
Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, as Dr. Lori Irwin, Finance Director, as Director Maddox just actually told you, what we're doing is asking for a budget amendment of $25,000 to come out of reserves to pay for this economic development study.
Okay, do I hear a motion to accept, what was that, 26? What was the number on this? I don't have it on my.
25,000 you asked for?
You're 25,000, but I want to read off the amendment number, and it's not. Do I hear a motion to accept?
I'm going to make that motion, and I'll make the motion. I just want to say something after.
A second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All right, and I believe that Commissioner Dubinsky has a comment as well.
That is very reasonably priced. Most of these economic development projects cost probably 4 times as much.
Which is why we're going for this ULI TAPS program, because it is a nonprofit agency of all these experts, and they go around all around the state and do these programs.
And I do want to make sure that our residents know that Director Maddox did check with several other comparable agencies and did bring us best price forward. Thank you. Any other discussion?
I have a question too. I actually clicked too.
I have a speaker. Vice Mayor?
How, does anyone know yet the parameters, or what are we gonna get for 25 grand? Are they going out 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, or?
We haven't finalized the 5, 10, or 15, but we will be definitely going at least 10 years. I think.
And listen, I'm not here to micromanage you guys. That's why we're so blessed to have you as directors in your various departments. That's why you're so good, and that's why we trust you. But I just want to make sure that you guys are knowing what you're going to get, because no disrespect, sometimes you get what you pay for. So if you found a 25,000 and normally they're 75 to 100, I just want to make sure it meets all the needs and the inquiries, because I know I had conversations with the city manager, and I know a lot of constituents, want to see what our vision is for the future, and, cafes and bistros and, furniture shops and art shops and antiques, they want to see more culture in the stuff, and I want to just make sure we're going to get our quote-unquote bang for the buck.
The team has put together a scope of services, which includes the city manager, Stuart, and
okay.
all of us, and so we have submitted that as our application.
Sort of like an RFP?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So right now, our Director of Finance is asking for approval to take $25,000 out of reserves to pay for this ULI. Do I have a motion to approve?
We already did. We made the motion, second. Yeah.
Okay,
I apologize, who did the second?
I did.
okay, now we will vote. And this passed 5-0. I want to thank everyone for that I know the vision of our new city manager is to move the city forward on, some of the new businesses that are coming in, some of the new upscale condos. So I think doing this study will let us know what we need to do to support that. Thank you. Okay, next, we're going to go on to 2026-05, approval of the Zen Cohen Engineering Agreement. Attorney Simons, can you read that for us, please?
It's Resolution 2026-05, a resolution of the City of Daytona Beach Shores, Volusia County, Florida, amending the general fund fiscal year 2025-2026 budget for engineering of the 2053 South Atlantic Avenue City Park for $168,650, and the Cohen Agreement ZC 26026F, providing for appropriations, providing an effective date.
Thank you. Director Maddox?
The 2853 South Atlantic Beach Access, which is right next to St. Kitts, was identified as the second highest priority in the city's Parks and Recreation Master Plan that was approved by the Commission. The Volusia County ECHO funding for 26-27 grant cycle will be open soon. And this is something that we would like to apply the grant for because it's very favorable. And in that is a requirement to have engineering and construction documents completed for the technical completeness review, which is due June 11th. So staff is seeking approval of the Zev Cohen contract, and Director Irwin, will present the financial part.
Thank you.
Yes, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, staff is here again asking for you to appropriate $168,650 for the Zev Cohen engineering contract. This money will come out of reserves again, and it's part of the Parks Master Plan. So we will be actually applying for the ECHO grant, as Director Maddox has already said.
And this would be our match or our contribution?
This will definitely be part of our match for the grant. So.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, do you hear approval of 2026-05?
I make that motion.
I'll second.
Second. And any questions? Okay, and is there any questions in the audience? Okay, seeing none, Sherry, can you take that roll, please? Okay, and that passed 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and next we're going to go on consideration of budget process dates. Director Irwin, can you go over again about the dates that we do have to have before a budget and the workshops and different things like that?
Yes, Madam Mayor. In our budget, we are required, actually, and by the TRIM process, by Florida state statutes, we are required to have 2 hearings a year to set our millage rates. And we cannot have the hearing when Volusia County School Board has theirs, or the Volusia County has theirs, because all residents must be able to attend the school boards, the counties, and the cities' hearings for setting millage rates. And so what we're looking at here is, the first thing we do is have a budget workshop. We usually have that at the end of July. And because what happens is we have to submit to the property appraiser by August 4th, actually, our millage rate, a proposed millage rate, which is usually the highest rate that we can, because going forward with the tentative budget and your final budget, you cannot go over that rate. So as the dates here on the screen are, we're setting the budget workshop, which would be Tuesday, July 21st at 4 o'clock, or Tuesday, July 28th at 4 o'clock. That is your choice. We're giving you an option here.
21st or the 28th?
The 21st or the 28th. at 4 o'clock.
Excuse me.
And then immediately following either night, the 21st or the 28th, whatever you decide, would be a special meeting at 6 o'clock, because this would be setting our proposed millage rate. Then we need to set our first hearing, which is in September. That's when we have that different date for our first meeting. Now, the normally scheduled commission meeting would be on Tuesday, September 1st. We would have, for our first hearing, that the earliest we could have it would be Wednesday, September 9th. Now, that is up to you whether you want to have a September 1st meeting or just postpone that to September 9th at 6 o'clock, but that would be our first budget hearing on Wednesday, September 9th. We cannot go earlier than that because of Florida statutes. It's got to be 100 days. The first day we could have it, I believe, is the 3rd, and Volusia County has already set theirs budget hearing for that day, and the school board is the 8th, and the 7th is Labor Day.
So correct me if I'm wrong, Lori, you're saying if we wanted to do the budget hearing and the commission meeting the same day, we could do it on Wednesday, September 9th?
Correct.
I accept that then.
Okay, so let's go back for the first thing she's asking for. I'm going to ask for a vote. Commissioner Dubinsky, would you rather do July 21st or 28th?
I'm good with either.
Okay. Commissioner Card?
I'm good with either.
Same here.
Me too.
Do you have any preference?
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, okay. Let's pick the 28th, only because I believe the 21st is probably the county council meeting in the evening, and I'm usually attend those. So if no one has any objection, let's do the Tuesday, the 28th at 4 p.m. Okay, so next we're going to go on to, what are our other choices on the menu?
That was September 9th.
Yeah, September 9th, okay.
Pardon me for that, yeah. So the first budget hearing would be Wednesday, September 9th. What your choice would be is to have your originally scheduled meeting on September 1st, or actually have it on the 9th.
Okay, so if we do it on the 9th, we could have the budget workshop at 4 p.m. and then go on, no.
That's a budget hearing.
It's a budget hearing, so that would be at 6 o'clock.
Okay,
You could have it actually at 5:01 would be the earliest.
okay.
So that's, and a commission meeting at the same
And then
time.
you could have a commission meeting.
You wanna
Does
check with everybody?
does September 9th work for everyone?
I hope so.
Okay, September 9th.
Okay, and then the final budget hearing.
Before we move on from that, Madam Mayor, do you want to go ahead and cancel the September 1st
Yes.
meeting now, and we will combine that all into the 9th?
Is that agreeable to everyone? Okay. All right, thank you. And then the second meeting would be on the 22nd at 6 p.m.
Of September.
Yes, 22nd at 6 p.m. So the one would be on a Wednesday, make sure we take special note of that, and that is because I think probably on the 7th is the school board, and the 8th is probably the county. Yes.
7th is Labor Day, 8th is the school board.
Or school board, actually, okay. All right, so we are Wednesday, the 9th. Anything else you need us to decide on?
That is on that.
You know what, sure.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Director Irwin, we appreciate it. City Attorney, do you have anything for us?
I do not, thank you.
Thank you. City Manager?
I do, thank you, Madam Mayor. If you missed the news, Rendon Park reopened on March 31st. It has abundant free parking for our residents who have registered their vehicles. You can do that at 2430 South Atlantic Avenue. They have an office there. If you haven't known, feel free to go there in person and take care of that. It has a brand new, beautiful ramp, huge ramp down to the beach, and it also has a stairwell. They have not opened the playground yet due to a source issue that they had, but they expect that to be open shortly after they get their equipment in. I'm sure you know Senate Bill 180 put several requirements on cities and counties. One of those was that senior officials complete the Florida Senior Elected Officials course. The course is designed to educate senior leadership in emergency management. I went ahead and completed that course last month, and that fulfills the city's commitment. I checked and confirmed with the state that nobody else from the city needs to take that. However, if you're interested in taking that course, let me know and I'll send you the link. Congratulations to Mayor Miller. She won her 5th consecutive Home Rule Hero Award. The Home Rule Heroes are local government officials who consistently respond to the request to reach out to members of the legislature and help give a local perspective on issues. I can tell you all that I have accompanied the mayor on many of these in-person visits to our area legislators and witnessed how well she represents us and represents our interests. Congratulations to her. Maddie McAllister, who you saw earlier tonight, has been selected as the Public Information Officer for the upcoming Central Florida Regional Planning Council mock mass casualty incident, which will be held on Thursday, April 9th from 8 to noon. The Central Florida Regional Planning Council will be holding it under the name Operation Skyfall. I think that's a simulated plane crash, is that correct?
Yes.
Excellent. Hospitals, along with county emergency management offices, the FBI, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, local law enforcement, EMS agencies, public health, schools and universities, and many other healthcare organizations and community partners are participating in this full-scale mass casualty exercise. This will be the largest hospital-based training exercise in the country. Wow. So we are very proud that Maddie was selected to be the lead public information officer for this huge event. Our community rating system was approved thanks to the work of Director Stuart Cruz. The community rating system is a program that allows communities that participate in the National Flood Insurance Program to develop and implement certain programs that result in discounts in flood insurance premiums purchased within the city. Currently, there are 3,578 flood policies within the city, and each of those property owners will automatically receive a 25% discount on their premiums due to the good work of Director Cruz.
Thank you, Director Cruz.
I'm sure a lot of our residents would like to take him out to lunch based on that. And finally, I'm happy to tell you that the developer of the Lux condo at 3159 South Atlantic Avenue has paid the initial building permit plan review fees, and staff has begun plans review. Wow. So the Lux is slated for 7 stories and 30 units. We're taking this as a very significant and positive step toward our strong economic development and the interest in developing an economic shore. That's all I have, ma'am.
Thank you. And what questions do we have for our city manager? Okay, seeing none, we will move right along to commission comments. Okay, Commissioner Dubinsky, what do you have for us?
Nothing, just amazing how many things are going on in the city.
Isn't that true? Mr. Card.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. On the economic side, I'm happy to announce that we have a new dry cleaner in the Shores. The former one that closed, there's a new one in the same building. We stopped by, myself, Nancy, and Maddie stopped by the Hampton Inn and the Daytona Sea Breeze, and we spoke with them, asked them if there was anything we could do for them. One thing that they did discuss was that they are still looking for employees, so they're trying to work on that. And last thing, or actually third thing, is I stopped by Sonapa. We were supposed to go there, but the owner was not there that day. I stopped by the other day, and it's completely empty. They've got it clean. It's just about to start building out, so we anticipate 6 months, and it should be open.
Great.
Yeah. The last thing is congratulations to the Citizens Academy. They graduated last Thursday. Well done, Maddie. And yeah, they, high raves from most of the people. I would say 99% of them said they enjoyed it. They learned quite a bit, so well done.
Thank you.
Awesome.
All right, Commissioner Economos.
Yes. It looks like we're going to have an opening on the Volusia Flagler EPO Citizens Advisory Committee. And I know there's going to be some folks that are going to be interested in that. So I would encourage any resident that would be interested to get a hold of Stuart Cruz, and he can get a hold of me. I know we have an alternate that's on the Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee. She may be interested as well, so I don't know, Stuart, if you could reach out to Ms. Fields possibly. If not, I can try to do that as well. But again, if you can, get with Stuart tonight or just during the week sometime, and we'll see what we can do for that. So I appreciate everybody's participation.
I'll try to average tomorrow at Coffee with Me. We'll talk about it again. The person that was on did a great job, but I think there was a personal issue he had to get off. My only suggestion would be, I think last time we alternated for this month, maybe this time if we did more of a consistency, they'd have a little bit more buy-in for it.
I think we did it for 6 months at a time.
Okay.
Is what we did.
Okay.
And the only reason we did that is so, the alternate can get a turn at, and I know we actually do have a pretty good participation with the alternates actually attending both sets of meetings. And actually, I think we do need an alternate for the Citizens Advisory Committee. So I think we already have one for the Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee, so that there would be an opening for that as well. So we just encourage everybody, anybody who is interested in just getting with Stuart or Mayor Miller or whoever.
Yeah,
and
I'll talk about it tomorrow. Okay, thank you. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor?
Yes, one of the benefits of traveling, you get to see other cities, and you look at it with a different eye as opposed to just enjoying the venue. And I'm excited for this economic development, and if there's anything I can do to participate. I was in a town called Dahlonega, which is in Georgia where the wineries are. Really a quaint little town. That's not us, but I went to Buckhead Village a couple of nights ago, and we have so much potential to accomplish that, and just finding the right real estate to give incentives to develop, and like a walking pavilion with shops and stores and restaurants. And I'm just so excited for the future for this city, and I want to help as best as I can. And with our city manager, with the vision and the enthusiasm and all his directors are going to bring, I agree with Commissioner Dubinsky. We're going to have, God willing, a really nice, solid future.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to go over some of the April events. Tomorrow will be Coffee with the Mayor, tomorrow at 10 a.m. I know it's the second Wednesday, but it's always after the first meeting of the month. So it's tomorrow at 10 a.m. And our very favorite speaker after Ms. Fentress has left will be Volusia County Sheriff Mike Chitwood will be there, and also a personal friend of mine, Matt Reinhardt, who is our Volusia County Council. He's the vice chair, and he represents this district, and he'll have a lot of updates on what's going on. Next, we're going to have our community yard sale April 11th, right here in the community center from 9 to 1 p.m. We had this last fall, and it was so popular, people asked Director Maddox to bring it back again. So she has. We have 30 vendors. 30, wow, okay. And then on April 21st, from 6:30 to 8:30, we'll have the concert. Is it the 21st? Okay. I thought this seemed early. What do you think?
Did I type the wrong date?
That's okay, just let me have the correct date. Okay, well,
It's the last.
Sherry, do you have a calendar there, or do you? Let us know.
Friday is the 24th.
24th, okay. It'll be the 24th from 6:30 to 6:30 to 8:30. There will be no food trucks this time, but please come by. We'll have a fabulous concert in McElroy Park. Bring your chairs. And then our new program, our partnership, for anyone that was there at the last Coffee with the Mayor, we had someone that represented the Brown, and that is the new museum. That's the new name, the Brown. And we're going to be in partnerships with them, and it's going to be April 21st at 2 p.m. Audubon in Florida. So please come by. It's going to be fantastic. Nancy, do you have any other update on what that will be?
Zach Zacharias will be speaking and telling us all about Audubon's journey through Florida.
Wow.
So we'll see all the wildlife that he documented and portrayed, especially all the bird that he did. So.
Good, thank you. That should be, people were very excited that day. So next, I have several speakers for today. The first one is Ed Offerman, if he can come up.
Ed Offerman, Demucci Twin Towers. My pardons for not thanking the council, but I promised Sherry I would try and get through in 3 minutes so she doesn't have to alert the mayor to get her long hook out. I mentioned this a couple of years ago at a council meeting in the month of April about never forgetting. This is the 13th anniversary of the Boston bombing massacre this weekend, or this month, and the 102nd anniversary of the Battle of Veracruz, Mexico. The best way for me to do this is, in 2014, I wrote an editorial in a local newspaper in Indiana, which they published under the title Never Forget. And I think this time I'm just going to read it. While Americans remember the first anniversary of the Boston bombing, most are unaware of the 100th anniversary of an important battle in U.S. Navy and Marine Corps history. On April 21st, 1914, 6,249 Blue Jackets and Leathernecks of the 2nd Seaman Regiment and the 1st Marine Brigade attacked the coast of Veracruz, Mexico. The attack was ordered by President Wilson, better known as a pacifist who had sent the armed forces to the Mexican coast after the U.S. flag was purportedly not accorded proper respect by Mexican authorities. A resolution was passed by Congress authorizing the use of force to rectify the perceived offense to national pride. The attack began under the pretext of intercepting the delivery of German munitions in Veracruz. The Mexican and German government were assisting each other in the early stages of World War I in Europe and their concerns along the Mexican-American border. The sailors and Marines fought house to house and roof to roof, taking out snipers and setting up rooftop communications. When the advance stalled, U.S. Navy warships bombarded a nearby Mexican Naval Academy, killing 15 defending cadets. In the end, at least 126 Mexicans were killed. The American losses were 15 sailors and 4 Marines. On April 27th, the American flag was raised over Mexican Navy headquarters in Veracruz. Marine Colonel John Lejeune, Cap Lejeune was later named for him, later recalled there was scarcely a dry eye among Americans participating in it or witnessing it. Mexican President Huerta had declined to hoist and salute the American flag, but we had forcibly seized his principal maritime city and had ourselves wiped out the indignity which had been put upon our country. President Wilson was visibly disturbed by the loss of American life. I cannot forget that it was I who had to order those young men to their deaths in what he called a war of service. Entire American cities paused to host funeral parades and services. Perhaps 1 million were on hand along the parade routes in New York City. An interesting bit of naval aviation history and occurred on the far-off Mexican coast. The first flight in a combat environment occurred on April 25th while searching for mines in Veracruz Harbor. 2 weeks later, a plane was hit by rifles during an inland recon mission, the first naval aircraft damaged by hostile fire. While we take time to remember the victims of the Boston bombing, let us also remember these Navy and Marine heroes of the early 20th century who died in service to their country. Well done, sailors and Marines. We will never forget. My apologies that I did.
That's all right, I didn't
I'm
want
sorry,
to.
Sherry.
That's okay.
I did my best.
Yes, you did. All right, thank you very much, Ed, for reminding us of that. Thank you. Okay, next we have Nicole Baker.
Boutique that has been in business for nearly 3 years. We've become a place for many of our locals and snowbirds to come and shop right here in our own community. We bring a very unique shopping experience that is unlike anything else here in the Shores, and we do this by choosing items that are specific to our area and that are popular to use in a home decor sense. As a Volusia County native and a resident of Daytona Beach Shores for the last 25 years, I've become familiar with the seasonal patterns that this area and beachside in general are subject to. To try to maintain a more consistent flow of foot traffic, we use a variety of tools and resources like social media, participation in local events, and in addition to being on A1A, we do our best to keep our display windows merchandised in a way that engages people and adds to the look of our city. All of these tools help us to draw the attention of vacationers looking for things beyond beaches and locals who are not aware of our business. A rolling clothing rack was also an important visual asset in helping us find the new and continued support that is critical to so many small businesses. Recently, we were notified that the clothing rack is a code violation, which brings me to my reason for speaking tonight. I would like to request the consideration of a variance or a concession to the current code, one that would allow for tasteful and minimal exterior displays that do not impede the flow of foot traffic on the sidewalk. We have used this display for over 2 years with no issues in regards to safety. I very much look forward to the possibility of future discussions regarding this. In the last few years, we have seen multiple cafes and small restaurants set up shop here, as well as a wellness studio that provides access to holistic modalities like salt therapy and infrared sauna, and most recently, a curated wine shop that offers unique selections from a very knowledgeable business owner at Coast Wine. I love getting to know my small business neighbors and networking to provide support for one another. I hope our city leaders can continue to lend their support and possibly modify existing rules in a way that benefits the business owners and community as a whole, by bringing a unique and pleasant environment for those who come and visit and who live here. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. And afterwards, if you could, I don't know, Director Cruz, have you had a conversation with her at all?
No, I haven't.
Okay, all right. Nicole, if after the meeting, if you can get with Director Cruz, that would be in his wheelhouse. Okay. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I'm also going to ask Director Maddox to meet with her to talk about the upcoming TAP and the stakeholder portion, where I think this would be an important place for you to provide that information.
Okay, thank you. Angie Gonzalez?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, the Commissioners, and the City Manager Fowler. My name is Angie Gonzalez, and I own Revive Salt Lounge here in Daytona Beach Shores. First, I wanted to say I truly appreciate the intention behind the city's signage and promotional regulations, and I understand that they're in place to maintain safety, organization, and visual character of our community. I also understand why higher impact promotional activity like sign spinning is not allowed. And I completely agree with that. What I'm proposing is the exact opposite of that. After reviewing the city banner permit and temporary promotional activity guidelines, it seems the current system is designed primarily for temporary event-based promotions like Race Week, Bike Week, or big grand openings, with advanced applications and limited usage periods. That works well for events. But small businesses don't operate in event windows. We operate every single day, and we rely on consistent, everyday visibility. I also recently spoke with members of the code enforcement and planning who shared the city is already exploring ways to create opportunities for small businesses in this area, which I truly appreciate. So I'd like to support that direction with a simple and practical solution. I'm asking the city to create a simple exemption from the temporary signage permit requirement for, one small freestanding sign and one small display element per business, such as a chalkboard or an A-frame sign and a sign or a small clothing rack, provided that they are placed directly in front of the business, do not obstruct sidewalks, ADA access, or visibility, and are brought inside at the end of every business day.
These are small, stationary, and low impact, much smaller and easier to manage than what is already permitted under current promotional guidelines. For many small businesses, this isn't about increasing signage, it's about having a simple, practical way to communicate with the community and remain visible without unnecessary barriers. I believe this aligns with the city's goals of supporting small businesses while continuing to maintain safety, accessibility, and the overall character of Daytona Beach Shores. Because when small businesses thrive, the entire community benefits. Thank you very much for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Angie. Can you hold, we couldn't, the sign is a little bit too far down. Can you just hold it up 1 minute?
Bring it back.
Okay. Okay, all right.
You wet your fingers.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Ann Marchinero. Ann.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, and our commissioners, and all of you here tonight. Thank you for everything that you do. I am Ann Martirano, and I am here tonight representing the Board of Trustees, Directors of the Port Orange South Daytona Chamber of Commerce. And just wanted to, again, thank you for all that you do. This was a fun meeting tonight. There's a lot of great things here, and it was wonderful to be a part of it. I wanted to just highlight a couple of things that are happening at the Chamber in the next month, and I just want to make sure you're aware of them. On the 20th of this month, we are holding a CPR class at 4 o'clock, which will be obviously a training session for anybody who has not gone through CPR training. I would highly encourage you or anyone you know to attend if they possibly can, because it's one of those things that you never think it's going to happen to you, but if it does, it surely is a nice thing to be able to jump in and help if you can. So we would love to have as many people as we can at that event. We also have coming up on the 30th of this month our Tasteful Affair, which is our annual fun evening of all sorts of good tastes. We have, I think, up to about 15, 16 vendors right now, and it will be at the Riverside Pavilion. And if you know anyone who might be interested, I think we're still taking vendors, but it's looking like it's going to be a wonderful night again, and we hope that you all will come out and support that. It's a lot of fun. And then finally, I wanted to make you aware that, if you weren't aware, that we also hold a youth civic leadership experience at the Chamber. That's where high school age youth can go through for a week in the summer, and they get to be exposed to things like you all and all of our government and our city leadership and the things that we do in this community, so that they can hopefully be our future leaders going into the future. So if you know anyone of that age who might be interested, I would ask you to have them, or you contact the Chamber, and we'd love to have them be a part of it. Other than that, if you don't have any questions for me, I just again want to thank you for all that you do.
Thank you, Ann. And the Leadership Conference, if I can talk about that, I think this is my 4th or 5th year. I'll be coming to speak to them, and you would not believe the intelligent questions they ask, just so engaged, and I think they're only 16, 17-year-olds.
Yes.
It's amazing how much they want to learn. So thank you so much for supporting that, and I'm glad to support it again this year.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that wishes to speak that didn't sign up? Sandy? You can fill out a form later on. Sherry, I have Nicole up here again, but that's...
No, the computer glitched.
Okay.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayors, and Commissioners. I'm Sandy Cook with Realty Pros. So I've got a couple things that I made notes. First of all, the ULI. I hear the amount that, and we're interested to hear about what we get for our expenditure, but the time frame, this 10 years. Do we have to wait 10 years before we're going to see any improvements? I mean, I feel like our need is pretty immediate.
I can have, if you can have a discussion with her afterwards, Nancy.
Okay, probably other people feel the same, that we need to see something before 10 years. The Chamber, is there any way, I know we don't have an office here, any way that we can get Daytona Beach Shores in the title? Port Orange, South Daytona doesn't really give us any exposure, and it's kind of drawing us over the bridge, no offense, but we need the people here. We we need some more exposure. So I'd like to see Daytona Beach Shores in the title.
So Ann can probably talk about this later on. There's also Ponce Inlet in there and Edgewater that is, so that's a little bit of a long title. And I think probably since those were the two originating ones, why it left like that. But you can certainly check later on. But, you know, in all fairness to the other two cities that are in there, quite a long title.
Right, I know. I just would like to get us more exposure. And so that brings me to the real reason I'm standing up here is that these business owners, they need more support. All of our businesses in Daytona Beach Shores need our support. If they leave, we just have empty buildings along A1A. And I'd like to know a way that we can get them more exposure. This is no offense, but we need more than what you give us during the meeting every month. I don't know, is there a way that we can have, like, they talked to each one of the girls here for 3 minutes, that we could have a highlight time during a meeting where they could tell us about their businesses. I don't know what we can do. I've asked, could there be something on the website? I've tried to support the businesses in the shores, but I think it's really imperative or we won't have any businesses and we won't even need a ULO.
And again, that would be Nancy Maddox is our economic director. Mark is our representative from the council. So I would say after this meeting, if you can get with Nancy or maybe set up some time with her to try and brainstorm what that looks like.
Yeah,
more exposure.
I think that we have some pretty great businesses
We certainly
here.
do.
And, you know, my customers, they usually get something from CPS. And she's really great to work with.
Okay. Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you.
Anyone else that wishes to speak? Okay, if not, then we're going to go on. Does anyone have any items in particular they want to add to the new agenda, to the agenda for next month? Okay, if not, I'm hoping to see a lot of you at Coffee with the Mayor tomorrow with Sheriff Chitwood.